Hey folks, Fred Bernardo, the smoking guitar player. How you doing? Guess what happened to me today? I got a call from my Uncle Joe. He said, hey, Freddy, when are you going to make it a pizza pie? When are you going to make me a pizza pie? And I said, oh, Uncle Joe, you want a pizza pie? Huh? Okay. If we're going to make pizza pie, we're going to need pizza dough. And that's what we're doing today. Let's make some pizza dough. Here we go. Hi folks, so today we're going to make some pizza dough, and first I want to tell you a little bit about the kind of dough we're going to make. We're going to make a what I call my versatile all-around dough. This is dough that you can use for a home oven, or if you're going to cook like on your grill, like in a Big Green Egg, or on a regular grill, or even a gas grill, or if you're going to use it in a wood-fired oven, you can just make little modifications. Now the basic dough recipe is one from Tom Lehman, who is known as the Dough Doctor. So people would refer to this as a Lehman-style dough. It's also used by commercial bakeries, commercial pizzerias. So you'll notice when we make the dough that I put some olive oil in there, and you can use regular oil, vegetable oil. You don't have to use olive oil, but you can leave that out. Like if I'm going to use cook these in a wood-fired oven, I would leave the olive oil out. There's also sugar optional, which I don't use too often. But the olive oil and the sugar, the olive oil helps the dough stretch and also helps it brown easier. And the sugar does the same thing, helps with the browning. So in my home oven, I can get close to 600 degrees. So I don't really need extra browning per se, but I like it with the oil in. So I'm going to make it with the oil, and we're going to whip one out maybe later with the from the home oven. Okay, so we're going to show you how to make the dough, and you'll see how we do it just using a mixer, and then we'll form some dough balls, and maybe we'll knock out a pie or two. Here we go. Okay folks, so it's time to make some nice pizza dough. Now you know, the smoking guitar player, he makes a lot of pizzas, so he's been playing with a lot of pizza dough the last couple of years, and I've been to some pizza schools like Tony Gimignani's International School of Pizza and done a lot of experimenting, and I have a quick and easy dough method that makes really, really super good dough. So first let's show you some of the things we're going to need to make this dough. First off, we got a couple bags of flour. Now today, we're going to use a 50-50 mix of Caputo pizzeria flour and Caputo rinforzata. That's the stronger gluten flour, so kind of a half and half, because we're going to do a cold ferment. We're going to let this dough in the fridge for 1 or 2 or 3 nights maybe even, so we give it a little rinforzata to give it a little bit of strength. Okay? We're also going to put a little bit of olive oil in there because we're going to be cooking this dough in an electric oven. We're not going to cook it in a wood-fired oven at high temperature. We're going to cook it at maybe 600, 550. So we're going to put a little olive oil in there, which helps it stretch out and also helps it brown better. Okay? So we got the olive oil right here. Okay? We got some yeast, some instant dry yeast right here, or active dry yeast we probably have. They're pretty much the same. We've got some kosher salt, and we've got a whole faucet full of water. We're going to use the special water right out of the faucet today. We got our scale here, a digital scale, so we can measure things out. We got our dough knife here, and here we got our mixer. So that's all we're going to do. We're going to make some dough, so let's get started.
Okay, so here's our mixer, and we're going to make some pizza dough. First, let's put our water in. There you go. Then we're going to put in our flour. It's nice having an opening on the top that's real big like this mixer has, so you can just pour your ingredients in. There goes the yeast, and there goes the kosher salt. Now we're going to start it up, let things get started mixing. Now it's kicking up a little dust here, so we're going to put on the plastic cover here. And this mixer has sort of a 2-level plastic cover. It actually has just a collar that you can put on, which keeps most things in. Or you can put that centerpiece on there and it keeps everything in. We're going to start with just the collar and let it mix for a while. Well, once all the flour has been absorbed, then it'll be time to add in anything else we're going to add, like our olive oil, for instance. So it's looking like it's all pretty well mixed. And I'm going to drizzle in the olive oil. Now you don't have to use olive oil, you can use vegetable oil or some other kind of oil. I like the flavor of extra virgin olive oil in my dough, so that's what I'm going to put in here. Now you'll see that this mixer is really good at incorporating that oil in. It's going to take it a couple minutes. We're going to let it run. You'll see this gradually starting to knead this dough. And it's going to start working the gluten. Now we're going to let this go a minute or two and let you watch it. And then we're going to cut away and we're going to come back. And one thing about this mixer is it has some suction cups on the bottom, so I can just kind of let it go. I don't have to worry about it creeping off the counter. I think it's time to kick up the speed here a little bit. And we're going to let it work and knead the dough. Make sure that cover's on there tight so it doesn't throw the dough out. Now we're coming back here after another 8 or 10 minutes, and you can see how nicely kneaded this dough is. Look at that, it's beautiful. This is after about 15 minutes total kneading time.
Okay, so our dough, we've mixed our dough in our mixer, and here's what she looks like when she's done. A nice, controllable, nice, really nice mass of pizza dough. Now, depending on the condition of this dough, I'm going to show you, we're going to try stretching a little, get a little flour on my hands here. If you stretch it and it doesn't tear, it's pretty much done. We're almost there. So I'm going to just take it like this, form it in a ball. I'm going to let it sit here on the counter. Now it's been in our mixer for 15 minutes. I'm going to let it sit here for, feels pretty warm, so I'm going to give it maybe 15 minutes covered. I'm going to cover it up with a bowl. I'm going to let it sit there 15 minutes, half an hour, and then we're going to divide it up into balls and make some pizza pies. So folks, there's our dough ball. We let it rest. I'll tell you, you can pretty much tell it's ready when you poke it and it doesn't come back out. Now that means it's pretty much ready to go. And what we're going to do is, we got our scale here. We're going to cut 260 gram dough balls. Now, I like to, when I'm making them in my house, I like to make these 12 and 13 inch pies, and I like them thin. So I really like 260 grams lately. It's been my number. So we start by, first we're going to get our scale turned on and get it to grams, which we did. Then we're going to find ourselves 260 grams on here, like this. Okay, so that's a little too much. We'll cut that off. We got 260 there. And I'm going to make the dough ball. Now, you've seen me do this in my other videos, but I'm going to do it here again. Just so you can see what that does now. Look at that skin on there. You can almost pull it tight like that. That's what it's supposed to look like. And pinch it off real tight. You can even give it a little twist. And then, she's going right in our dough tray here. This is our dough-made dough tray. And that's where she's going, right there. Look at that. And we're going to get 5 out of here. So let's go on to number 2. 227, 245. There's 260 right there. Now watch me. Once again, we're going to make it into a dough ball. So this is how we make our dough. You saw us mix everything and run it in the mixer. We ran it for about 15-16 minutes, really till it was done. Then we let the dough rest a little bit, covered, and now we're making our balls and putting them in our dough-made tray. So we made our dough, and we made our dough balls, and we put them in our dough trays. Here they are. And we put them in the fridge for a cold ferment. That's the refrigerator, the cold temperature slows down the action of the yeast, and over a few days it can ferment, and each day it's building more and more flavor. So I want to show you what they look like. These are our 260 gram dough balls that you saw us make. And here's 3 of them in this dough-made dough tray, which really works nice in my fridge. You can see they're beautiful, they're a little puffed up. They're nice and soft. They're airy. Oh yeah, you can see little flecks of the yeast in there because it's really getting, it's really at its perfect time to make a pizza. So this is what they look like after 3 days in the fridge, and that is perfect. This is with 2 different kinds of flour, the Caputo regular and the higher gluten flour, and that gives it some strength and makes it work really good for these long cold ferments. So anytime from a day, from the next day to maybe even 6 or 7 days, these are good enough to use. So there you go. Okay folks, so let's make a nice pizza pie. Here's our dough ball. Let me get a little board flour going here. There's my nice puffy dough ball. We're going to dip this in flour both sides, just like that. And we're going to put it on now. Oh, it's nice and airy. First thing we're going to do is we're going to push it down here and make our crust. Make our cornicione, our edge. Okay? Like that there. Look at that. Beautiful. This dough is perfect. Same thing over here. Use the flats of your fingers. Flip it over. Start to stretch her out. Now we're looking for about a 12 or 13 inch pie. I'm going to stretch it a little bit like this here. A little bit. And give it a toss. Sorry you don't see that on camera. Okay, a little bit more of a stretch. Looking for thin spots. Oh, it's just perfect. Just couldn't be much better. It's got a little triangular shape. Give it a spin. There we go. Up. Okay. Stretch it out here a little. There you go. Nice, huh? Now we got our nice homemade sauce here. Oh, first, let me show you something I've been doing lately. I've been taking this stuff here, baccio, kiss of garlic. Since this one here is going to one of my Italian people, I'm going to give them a little extra garlic. What I'm going to do is I spread some of this around like this here. Then I put a little bit of olive oil. A little bit of olive oil on there. I'm going to spread it out. Oh yeah. Baccio kiss of garlic. You know where you can get it. Okay. Now I've got that on there. And what we'll do next, we're going to put on some sauce. Now lately sometimes I've been putting the sauce on top of the cheese, but today I'm going to put the sauce first like a normal pizza. You can smell that garlicky goodness already. Then there's more garlic in the sauce. It's hard to go wrong, you know what I mean? Okay, there's our sauce. How about some cheese? We got some nice fresh mozzarella that I sliced. I took my mozzarella ball and just sliced it up a little bit. Put some nice blobs, maybe a couple little ones in the middle here. These are kind of thick pieces, but I'm going to put them on there anyway. I'm going to drizzle just a little more sauce just on top of these here a little bit, just for fun. Then, we need our Italian seasoning on here. Something like this here, a little bit of oregano, that type of thing. And just a little bit of olive oil. And that's ready to go. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to pick that up with my pizza peel, and I'm going to transfer it to my oven. So watch me go. Get my pizza peel, get some flour on there. And here we go. Well, into the oven. And folks, 3.5 minutes later, you can see the smoke coming off of this baby. 3.5 minutes later, that's what you got. Check out the bottom of that crust. This is crunchy. Oh, can you hear it? Hear it? Crunching? Crunchy, crispy crust. Look, listen to it. Oh yeah. And that's how she goes. So that's what your dough is going to look like when you're making a pizza pie, okay? I don't want to tilt it too much or all that gooey stuff will run off. So we'll see you next time. Don't forget to make your own pizza. Home oven, wood-fired oven, big green egg, ceramic grill, Weber grill, gas grill. You can do it. Make that dough. Stay tuned next time.